What's going on, people? Welcome to the match preview. And this is a massive game, or is it? Roy's under pressure, potentially plays out injured, and more. As always, I'm joined by AJ and T for all the insights ahead of the game. But we want you involved, so let us know your thoughts and predictions in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe. You already know the drill as well. Gents, what a game. I never thought a game early in December will hold this much significance. I think we'll be in December by then anyways. I'm so tired. Near enough there. But look, I want to start off with this. Based on all the reports, Roy Hodgson meant to be under pressure somewhat. But are we approaching, T, a game where it is a must-win game? Is it really under pressure? Do you think?
I think the reason why there is the idea of pressure in this situation is kind of what we were talking about before we started, is the fact that it's starting to open up a little bit, the distance in between places. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you can find yourself only a couple points out of a certain spot, or you can find yourself getting closer to 8 to 10 spots away from certain areas. So, like you said, it's starting to open up. So games are starting to become more important, and especially in these situations where you can't afford to be losing multiple matches in a row. You know, you gotta get results. You can't afford to drop too many matches. So it's really getting to that point, man.
Yeah, AJ, for you, me and T recorded a Palace News episode and we spoke about Roy. If you haven't already done so, you can go check it out because it's not really out of date. We spoke about whether Roy's job is in danger and who could take over. But I mean, even if we move away the Roy element, are we in danger if we don't pick up points from the next few games, including West Ham? Because we've got some hard run of games, very hard run of games. And if we don't get, a win against West Ham or against Bournemouth, then how on earth are you going to beat the likes of Liverpool and City?
I agree. I think if we've got any chance of getting this season, I'd say back on track and achieving what we allegedly were promised, then these are the kind of games that we're going to have to get something out of: a win, a draw, preferably the win, to get some kind of, I wouldn't even call it momentum. I think it's just getting onto hold of crucial points ahead of a very mental December that's coming up. I mean, after Bournemouth, it is just a complete war zone for us all the way through till January. So for me, this is when we need to be looking at the target board and saying, you know what, let's just get something out of this. West Ham's form's indifferent, so I don't see why we're not aiming to get some sort of points, preferably maximum points out of this game against West Ham. We need it. I mean, pressure on Roy or not, obviously that's a conversation for as and when. But for me, if Roy, is serious, and I think more importantly, if the club is serious, this is one that, even if we follow the game at time philosophy, this is one that we should be targeting to get something out. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't know if I should class as a must-win, but I do think we're approaching that. If this game is not a must-win, then I think the Bournemouth one is. So I think it's one of the two. If we do get a win here, the Bournemouth game, we should still be ideally looking to win, of course, because it's against Bournemouth and they are good. They're not a bad side, even though they are below us in the table. But we need to be picking up ideally 6 points in the next few games. We have to make up for it. I mean, the Luton game, the Everton game, we got a win against Burnley, but these last 2 games has just been absolutely awful because that's the games that you was thinking about potentially picking up points and we just dropped points. But not only that, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well and let us know in the comment section down below. What is actually going wrong defensively? Let's actually talk about that. I mean, 2 goals conceded against Luton. For me, the second goal was very sloppy. Even the first one, you could debate as well. We should defend better in the corner. 3 against Everton at home. Do I have to even say more? Burnley game, if you watch the live match reaction, I was not happy with that win, even though we won 2-0, because I felt like we gave them way too many chances. And I did say, if we did face a side with better attackers, we will pay the price. And then the next 2 games, we go and concede 5 goals in 2 games. Even though we kept the clean sheet, I think it's down to, Burnley not being good enough in front of goal. And then Tottenham. I mean, Newcastle, Tottenham, we conceded 2 goals. That's fine. But Newcastle 4-0 was very bad. I mean, I'll say since the start of October, the last game that we've had that was solid defensively was against Forest, where we kept the clean sheet 7th of October. Since then, I don't think we've been good enough in defense, whether that's leaking goals or actually leaking chances. But for you, T, what on earth is actually going wrong? Because the players that are playing, you would expect the best out of them. Like, you got Gahey, you got Anderson. So what is it?
Man, I don't. It's well, one of the things that stood out to me that hasn't been an issue until recently: set pieces. We haven't been as sound on set pieces as we had been for a very long time. I mean, it seems like as soon as the announcer started talking about how solid we've been on set pieces of late, is when we just started leaking them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that definitely has a lot to do with it. Last match, particularly, we lost 2 really key components to our team, and one being on our midfield solidity and one being with our creative and attacking prowess. So, I mean, that's definitely part of it too. I mean, in that Luton match, we had opportunities. Some were called offside. Did we have enough
though? I don't know about you, AJ, but personally, I felt like we didn't. I felt like the goal that we scored was from an Elise masterclass. I don't think we were that good in attack. I think with a Roy Hodgson side, you're not going to be that great in attack. All it is defensively. But if you lose a defensive element, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to kind of pick out one specific thing. I think it's almost like there's been a lack of communication between goalkeeper and centre backs, which is quite rare. We saw that exposed against Luton. Poor communication. I feel like Joe Ward's been getting dogged at right back. I just think, now more than ever, it's being highlighted. And, we are in the Premier League. The Premier League is full up of pacey wingers, skillful wingers that will cut in, kick the ball past you, run past you, run off the last man. And unfortunately for a player of Joe Ward's maturity, I think that's these are the kind of games that, especially going into December, he's going to have a hell of a hard time. And I love Nathaniel Klein as well, but the reality of the situation is I don't think Klein is particularly a stronger or even a better option. He's got a little bit more pace on him when he's fit, but, that's neither here or there. And I think Tyreek Mitchell has blown hot and cold this season. He's been relatively pretty solid, but there have been times when he's been caught out or been exposed, or he's trying to come forward and he's not coming back at the right time. It's just a combination of things. And the fact that it's being highlighted or standing out more is because it's starting to get exposed against the weaker teams in the Premier League, or the teams in the Premier League that aren't particularly that productive in front of goal or don't have as much quality. When we go against the big boys come through to that Christmas period, it's going to be, forgive the term, a shit show in comparison.
I mean, you're facing Salah, you're facing Liverpool's attack, City's attack. And the thing is, I mean, in them games, you do give Palace a chance, not because we're going to go score goals, but defensively, we can be frustrating. So on our day, you never know, you might be able to frustrate your way to a result. But if we're defending like this against Everton and Luton, with all due respect, I mean, what's going to happen against Liverpool and the likes of City? And I think individuals do play a part, of course. You saw it in the second goal as well, but there must be something in the structure. Could it be like even Decore going out in the second half? Like, is Decore a piece where if you take him out the side, that makes your defense look weak as well? Because Luton weren't that great in the first half. They had a few opportunities, but in the second half, when Decore did go out injured, that's when the goals pretty much came out as well.
Yeah, I mean, losing somebody like Decore immediately weakens us. And yeah, I mean, we looked significantly worse defending in that second half. What that could truly be akin to, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the goal that I want to say, was it I don't know the guy's name, but it was the one where I think Anderson and Johnston just didn't communicate well on that cross. They ended up getting put in. You know what I mean? Like, that's just down to good communication, because your defender could have handled that ball pretty easily. It's just people weren't communicating. So I think it was our level of play overall in that second half that led to a big decline. I mean, along with, of course, losing somebody like Decore.
Yeah. Look, let's talk about Decore, because Decore is going to be out pretty much till arguably to the rest of the season, especially if it's
I mean,
like that.
That's the rest of the season, man.
Yeah. And we got Eze out for 3 to 4 weeks, which is not ideal. But let's talk about their replacements. Let's be honest. I personally think their replacements are obvious. I think it's going to be Ayew for Eze. He came off the bench. I think he'll start in this game against West Ham. And for Decore, it'll be Will Hughes. But do you think it's time to switch that up? Do you anybody think that maybe any other player should get opportunities? You said Yepti, but like, who would you want instead of, Ayew or Hughes playing?
Man, at this point, I want to see somebody like França get a chance. Like, give him a chance. Give Muhammad a chance. Heck, being honest with you, I would love to see David Ozo get moved up to the first team and maybe make some appearances and get a chance. Not even saying start him, but give him a chance to come off the bench and contribute. Because the thing is, like, when you decide to put Hughes in there and you decide to put Ayew in there and keep Slup in there, you know what you're getting, and you also know what you're not getting. So we know what we're not going to see from our team with those guys in the 11, so to speak. However, I mean, I don't mind Ayew being in there. Personally, probably wouldn't want him in the 10 spot necessarily. But
I want Ayew to start. I think Ayew's had a very good season. That's where it gets tricky, because
I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem.
Drops, and you still have Ayew there with Elise and Slup drops.
Yeah.
But do we think France is ready though? There's that question as well.
We don't know. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to know if he's truly ready until we really get to see the dude play. Like,
yeah, the one thing that I've liked about France whenever he's come on, he's a bit raw, but he's confident. Like, I remember even against Newcastle, like, taking a shot from 30 yards out. We're losing 4-0. It's his first Premier League game, and you're trying to impress a manager, but he's trying to impress a manager by going out there and just showing his confidence. Against Tottenham, I think it was against Tottenham where he missed that chance in the final minute that could have, changed the narrative. Imagine if he scored out and we drew that game. But he's looked raw. Then again, if we're missing Eze, Ayew for me, Elise is there as a creative player, but Ayew for me is not that creative. Look, Ayew's not that creative player, but Ayew has to start. There's no way Ayew doesn't start. What baffles me the most is how Jeffrey Schlupp is probably going to start in this game as well, AJ.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
For me, that's how you switch up. Maybe you start France in this game, you switch up like that. Like, what have you got to lose at this point? It's not working. It isn't working.
I 100% agreed with everything T just said there. I think he pretty much said everything I was thinking, to be honest. I think we're well overdue an accidental success by Roy. And I say that a lot. If we look at some of the stars that have kind of popped up and come out of nowhere, they're in times of us having injury crisis, or we're down a few players in a certain position, and these young gems kind of just come out of almost nowhere. I think it would be an excellent opportunity for France, Ahamada, and Ozo. Those are the players I am looking at. But history and logic has told me Roy won't do it unless he's desperate. So the only way these guys are going to be able to pull it off is if Raksaki as well. Sorry, that one just popped onto my head as well. I think the only time that's going to happen is...
I forgot about Raksaki, I'll be honest. Like, that's great. Is he?
Yeah, literally, it just popped up into my mind. So what I'm thinking is...
His hamstring.
What was that?
Yeah, but, you never know. I think he's not a million miles off the pace in terms of what, being ready and being there.
Okay.
But the thing is, I think what it's going to probably have to rely on is potentially that odd injury or a random substitution, and they come in and inspire a game. And, I felt like France did do that against Newcastle and those type of games. So I'm kind of hoping that we kind of get those opportunities for them out of that side of things, and then they might get the odd little assist or goal or, twist up 10 players or whatever it may be. And then we can build on that momentum while Eze's nursed back in. And as obviously Decore's injury, his season is pretty much over from my understanding. So, we're going to have to adjust our system to play without him, regardless of what the circumstances are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tricky, and in midfield, I think Will Hughes, maybe a Hamada came on as well, but something needs to change. Let us know in the comments, by the way. Let us know what you think about Eze Decore situation. Is it a case of for you, Ian Will Hughes comes in, or do you want to see something different? Maybe Franca or Hamada start. But for me, you have to. The same patterns are clearly not working in the players, so you have to try something different. But then again, do I think we'll try something different? No. And the reason for that, and I'm not saying that because I'm pissed off or whatever, is because we've seen it in the past with Roy. Like, he's got his players that he favors, and I just don't see him starting France in this game. Or Ahmed maybe potentially. There's more of a chance, but I think it'll just be simply as Ayu and Will Hughes. But let's look at the league table. We spoke about this is not the actual table. We'll try to bring out the right one. Now, 2 seconds. Hold up. I'm gonna just cut it off. Hold up. All right, cool. I'm gonna edit this part. Okay. So let's look at the league table now, because this is where things get a bit interesting. 13 games with 15 points for Palace, of course, of form. Only 1 win in the last 5, and we face sides like Luton and Everton in that process as well. If we were to win this game, it could take us to 10th. Even a draw could take us to 10th, depending on results as well, but lost to potentially 16th. And when we speak about is this a must win or not, I mean, it's a must not lose. We know that for sure. But if we were to win, it gives you that momentum. I mean, we need to look up rather than down. If we're talking about 16th already, it's like, I'll be honest, after the Luton game, I'm pretty much tuned out. I need to see something incredible for Palace for me to tune back in and say, you know what, let's go, let's push, because we're just far too inconsistent. But for you, T, when you look at the league table and see the difference and the swing, I mean, if we were to lose this game, we'll talk about West Ham, what we think about them. That could separate us and West Ham 8 points. But if we were to win, only 2 points behind them.
And it puts you in that situation where you find yourself 8 points out of 9th or 10th place. It's like we're once again fighting for mid-table. You know what I mean? Like it feels like you're destined to fall between that 12 to 14 range again another season, because you find yourself 8, 9, almost 10 points off of the top 10, and you fighting uphill for the remainder of the season. I mean, we know how hard it is to put together a 2-game win streak for us. It's like, hey, you know, how often do we put together 6 points like that? You know, how tough that can be to then have to try and climb your way up and make this top 10 goal that we all kind of had on our minds and in our hearts at the beginning of the season. Even Parrish coming out and talking about it.
Yeah, see, Parrish and Roy did. So that's what I'm saying. I said at the start of the season, I'm sorry, but you know, some people did say that we can't finish top 10, and I understand that. But it's time to take this club accountable for what they say as well. See, Parrish talked about pushing on. See, Parrish talked about finishing 10th. Roy Hodgson spoke about finishing 10th. So anything below 10th this season, for me, is a failure. That's how I see it. We have to be finishing in the top 10. If the manager set ambition and the owner set ambition, then you have to be held accountable. If you don't finish top 10, questions need to be answered, because I feel like at times it's so easy to set objectives and everyone just forgets about it because our expectation for some of the fans and fan base is already low. So they're saying, oh, we won't finish the top 10. But if the owner and the manager saying that, and if they're saying that and they mean it, then at the end of the season, maybe not Roy, because Roy's going to go, but Steve Parish needs to be held accountable. I mean, it reaches a point where, as a fan, it's like, what are the expectations? Do you actually mean top 10? Like, what is it? Just staying up? Because the actions don't lead up to what is said by him. For me, if you want to be a top 10 side, maybe Roy, you can have Roy there and it could work out, but you strengthen the squad a bit more. Like, you don't, like, the summer signings didn't really make sense. It doesn't really match the ambitions of top 10. We know how competitive the Premier League is. So for me, that we have to be pushing forward and finish the top 10. I mean, you get a win and you push up, then your chances increase in that. But you can't be losing and you can't be creating a gap against West Ham. But AJ, let's talk about West Ham. What have you made of them this season? They got a Europa League game on Thursday, which should also help us as well. Like, I don't know what else we need. But are you like worried about facing them. We beat them twice last season. We finished above them in the table as well. But this time around, based on our form, are you like worried about West Ham and how they've started the season? Because they've had decent results, but they haven't played that great as well.
I mean, they had a better start than us. They had a very, very good start to the season. They were pretty much Champions League spots after the first couple of games of the season. But it seems they're kind of like hit back to reality a little bit, and it's kind of, you know, knocking them back down a bit. They just seem a bit inconsistent, but just not as inconsistent as us. It's a strange one with them. I think they're very much, similar to us. One step forward, two steps back kind of mentality. I'm not dramatically worried about West Ham, but the thing that kind of throws me is the kind of indifferent form we're on. It depends on what version of Crystal Palace shows up. If the version we've been getting the past couple of weeks shows up, they're turning us over. For sure. Yeah. But if we actually pull our fingers out and maybe dig a bit deep and go for a half decent result, then we could get them very, very easily. You know, we've had a good couple trips to the Olympic Stadium, to be fair, but you know, it's a very hard one to tell. I don't really have a, you know, I think adding James Ward-Prowse to the squad was very excellent because obviously, ironically, set pieces, something that we're notoriously
and they are
shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They've got the man for the job, and then they've got some brilliant players that can finish inside the box. They've got muscle, they've got a bit of tech in there. I'm a bit concerned. but at the same time, West Ham's not unbeatable. Let's just put it that way. They're not unbeatable, but it just depends on what version of Palace decides to show up on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if we continue how we are so far defensively, then forget about it. Like, literally, just forget about it. If we're going to defend like that in corners, we're going to concede. Like, we will concede. But if Gahey, Anderson, and all these players that we praise about live up to expectations and they can communicate, Sam Johnson, then I think we do have a chance. I don't think it's crazy to say that we could potentially get a win against West Ham. But, you know, we spoke about the players. We spoke about the defense, the league table. Let's talk about score predictions now. This should be fun. This actually, because we didn't do a preview for the Luton game, which would have been funny if we done a preview, because I think everyone would have got score predictions wrong. But this is the current prediction table as it stands right now, as you should be able to see on the screen. Can you see on the screen? No.
I see our faces in front of it.
Because you won't be able to see on the screen because it's gone to the background. But the prediction table right now, it hasn't changed from last week. It's 7 points for me, 6 points for T in second, 5 for AJ, and 4 for Stan as well. So we got 7, 6, 5, 4. If you get the correct point and result, that's a plus 3 points. Correct result, correct outcome, that's a point in itself. I'll be honest. This prediction table, I don't know even how to predict anymore. Based on how we're playing, I genuinely don't know. I don't know if I should go for Palace win, Palace a draw, a loss, but this is how it stands as well, just to show it on the screen as well. 7 for me, I'm still top of the table. 6 for T, 5 for AJ, and 4 for Stan. Gents, let's start off with you, AJ. Palace, they've got, you know, Europa League game on Thursday. West Ham.
I am going.
We beat them last year around. Can we get a result this time around?
I'm gonna go with 1-1.
1-1.
1-1.
You know what? I'm gonna step forward right now. I'm gonna back 1-1 as well. I'm going 1-0 as well. T, talk to me. Do you think we have a chance of winning?
2-0 West Ham.
2-0 West Ham. 2-0 West Ham. Okay. 2-0 West Ham.
I would absolutely love to be proven wrong.
That is AJ. So AJ, me and you, we're either picking up points or we're letting T run. I can't lie, T, you might be onto something there. I spoke to Fan TV, and we done opposition.
We're about to see Will Hughes and Jeffrey Schlupp in there running it for probably 80 to 85 minutes, man. I'm just saying, I don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah, we couldn't get Stan's predictions before the preview, so hopefully he'll send it during the week. He's been very busy, so he couldn't join us today. But I'm wondering, I'm pretty sure the way Stan's been talking, I'm pretty sure he's not predicting a baddest win because he's been over the last week or two.
He's been very
going all
active
out
on social media. Let's just put it that way.
So I don't think, like, I honestly wouldn't take a genius to predict that Stan won't be predicting a win. So, but we'll see. We'll get his predictions. But let us know your predictions in the comment section down below. Thank you to AJ and T for joining me for this match preview. Big game. We'll be back, of course, after the game, straight after the game for our live match reaction. Like, subscribe, and until next time.